Hey guys, welcome back to another Scout the Defender YouTube video, to another episode on Project 90, where today we're going to be fixing 3 of the most common issues that you can get on your Land Rover Defender. So let's jump right into it. Now the first job I need to tackle is the age-old problem of the windscreen wipers. I knew that this was an issue when I bought the car, and I've been putting it off for ages because it means that I'm going to have to pull the dash out to get to the wiper gearing. But just to demonstrate, if I put the ignition on and I go to flick the windscreen wipers, they don't do anything. I can kind of promote them sometimes to go. As I've got a few tasks that involve me getting to the back of the dash, I may as well try and get them all done in one. So let's jump into it and start pulling the dash. I've never removed the dash from a TD5 before. I'm hoping it's a little bit easier than the Puma because there's a lot less going on, but let's see how we get on. So I've had to take out a lot more of the dash than I expected, mainly because I can't pull the wiper gears through the bulkhead without them getting caught on all of the kind of gubbins behind. So I'm trying now to tease them out. But yeah, there's a lot more of the dash that's had to come out, which is really frustrating. Right, so here is the old wiper mechanism, and hopefully you can see it's really corroded, really rusted up. These gears, or these wiper boxes, are just fully corroded. I can't move them up and down at all. So we're basically just going to recondition this. We need to undo the motor, and then we can unclip the gear and the wiper worm. Once we've got that, we can take off these wiper boxes and replace them all with a new set, and then we can put it back into the car. With this job, the main effort is really just getting this out of the car. Once it's out of the car, this job is really quick and easy to do, and then we can drop it back in. So let's go and get that done. So that's the arm detached from the motor. Now we can remove the rest of this stuff that we're going to want to keep. But sometimes these gears are so kind of welded on that you have to almost cut them free. So like this one, the gear's just not spinning at all, which I presume this side was probably the problem. Although this one looks pretty bad too. You can see lots of rust and corrosion in there. Some more brutal means, but there was no way that that wire was coming off that gear. So we can now remove the rest of the tube and see if this gear will slide. There you go. So this gear slides down the worm a bit better. So it was obviously that other one that was the problem, but this one's still pretty seized. So we'll remove that too. So we no longer need this gear and no longer need these wiper boxes. But what I will do is just measure this down, because we're going to need to cut the new wire to the same length. So here we have the new wire, and we have the 2 fresh wiper boxes. They spin a lot better, a lot more free, so we can get these mounted up to the new wire. So that's our new piece cut to size of the old one, so we can now get rid of this, get rid of the overcut. And now it's time to get this mounted back up and run all the gears along it and get it all greased up. Slide on our new gear. You can see how much easier that runs down the wire. Right, so that's the arm rebuilt. We can now connect it up back to the motor. So it just slides back in, pull the cable through a bit, slides into the motor and hooks in. And then we've just got this final piece. Right, we're now fully rebuilt with the motor attached, so now we can drop this into the car, fight it, wrestle it to get it back in position, and then we can test, see whether it works before we build back up the rest of the dash. Right, so time to drop this back in. Hopefully it goes a bit smoother getting it out. Right, so moment of truth, ignition on. We'll test just the one arm first. Whee! We're working. We're in business. I'm so happy that worked. So now I can hook up the other wiper blade and then we can think about bringing the dash back together. So with the dash out, one other thing I can do is have a look at the state of the bulkhead, and as you can see, there's a little bit of rust down this side. It's not too bad, but I'm hoping if I take the windscreen block off, I'll be able to treat this rust and stop it from going any further. So that's what we'll do now. We'll take the wind block off and then we'll be able to see if we can treat this rust. So now with that bracket out of the way, you can see the rust. You can see it has gone through a little bit, which is a bit worrying. I'm going to try and sand this back and see how bad it gets, and then try and treat it early so we can hopefully get a bit more life out of this bulkhead. So there we have the holes patched up. It's not perfect. It was really difficult to get the sander in here to tidy it up, but I think it's going to do a better job than leaving it without any treatment whatsoever. So now I'm going to just put some black paint over the top to protect it. I've not got any Cairns blue, obviously, in a rattle can, but I think the black again will protect it until at some point I can go back and repaint. But yeah, I'm generally pretty happy with the tidy up job on that. Now while the dash is out, the other thing I'm going to do is look at fitting a new headlamp switch. So at the moment when I'm flicking the headlamps, they're not necessarily coming on all the time, it's really intermittent, and I read that a new switch might be able to solve that. So I'm going to connect that up now and see if that makes any difference whatsoever. If not, I have also read that perhaps sometimes the dim dip relay, so this pink one here, can sometimes play up, but unfortunately I don't have another one of those to hand, so I'll still be going to be able to put the dash back together, and then maybe that's something that I can revisit because I can actually get access by just taking the binnacle off. I don't have to do this full tear down like I've got going on here. So let's try this new switch. I'm hoping that this fixes the problem, but if not, there's other things that I can explore. It may even just be a dodgy earth somewhere. That's going to be a lot harder to try and track down, but we'll connect that up. I don't have to connect anything else up to test it. I'm just going to now put the ignition on and see if the lights are working the way that they should. Okay, so ignition on, the DRLs come on. Then we will try the headlamp switch, or sorry, the side light switch. Put that on to the first setting. That should just be side lights, but it looks like it's the full headlamps. And then if I go to the full mode, which should be headlights on, they're now turning off or flickering, which is strange. So maybe it's something to do with the dip beam relay potentially, because that did just make a weird noise. And then if I try the main beam permanently on, that's not working either. That's permanently dip beam on. It is now putting, I think, just the headlights on, which is strange. So I'm really not sure what is happening there. Any thoughts, let me know in the comments below. So I've now put the new headlight stalk on, but again, when I'm putting the lights on, one click seems to be turning the main lights off, and then another click doesn't put them back on. So it's almost like it's backwards. I don't really understand what's happening. I can hear the relay going. So maybe it's time just to change the relay out, see if I can get that to work, the on-off switch relay, see if that's causing me any problems. If I take the binnacle out, you can see, I'll turn this off. The relay is just in here, and it's that pink relay on the left hand side, so I'm going to swap that out and see if it makes any difference. Old relay out, doesn't really seem to be anything wrong with that. We'll put this back in place, just replaced with the new one down there, and see again. What I'm going to do as well is just start the car, see if that changes anything. I don't think it will, but okay, so That's the new relay in. Got the car started. First click, side lights go on, but the lights now seem to be going off. And second click, oh, it does look like they've come on now. Oh no, now they've gone off again. Oh, now they're back on. I think there might be some sort of like faulty earth or something. Like it's very hit and miss whether they work or not, so maybe it's something to do with an earth somewhere. Now I can't get them to come on at all. So yeah, maybe I need to go earth chasing now to see if I can get it fixed. So the good news is I've managed to push the relay in a little bit more, move some of the wiring around, and I've managed to make sure that the lights consistently work, whether that's side lights on, full beam on, or just the headlights on. So they're all working now. I'm not 100% sure what the problem was, whether it was the relay, the switch itself, or that there is a bad earth somewhere that I'm going to have to investigate at some point. But for now they're working, so I'm not going to think about it, and that's another job done on Project 90. So there you have it guys, we've managed to solve some of the most common problems you can get with your Land Rover Defender. As always, it's always a bit of a pain trying to take the dash out, but I'm relieved knowing now that the windscreen wipers are sorted and the headlights are sorted too, so I'm not going to have to go back there for a little while. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, it really helps the channel out, and subscribe for plenty more videos to come, and I'll see you next week.